an individual is, say, less likely to be caught in a plane crash or run down by a bus?
No, I wouldn't say that. The fact that the karma niyama is dominant doesn't necessarily mean that you're more likely to survive. But one has to think in longer terms, in think in terms of the whole process of rebirth and successive lives. Because even supposing a person who is more of an individual is, say, caught in a plane crash, well, his reaction to that will be more that of an individual. The karmas he generates at that moment will still be positive karmas, and will continue to dominate the other niyamas, even though his present physical body may have disintegrated. But he, so to speak, his stream of consciousness will, one might say, sail triumphantly over that. But looking at it in more sort of general terms, one may individually be very conscious that you're taking the initiative in relation to the world, that you are actually doing something, that you are generating, let's say, positive mental attitudes, positive volitions, that you are, as it were, creative in your attitude. So you have the feeling then that you are dominating the situation, dominating condition. Not that you are necessarily successful or always defeat them objectively, but you have the inner feeling that you always take the initiative. Your being or your attitude, it is not all the time being determined just by what is happening to you. Do you see what I mean? So it is in that sort of sense that I speak of the karma niyama dominating the others. That you are taking the initiative with regard to existence. You are not allowing the things that happen to you to completely control, or even predominantly control, your own mental attitude. Your own attitude, your own response goes beyond, what is actually happening to you, especially what is happening to you not as a result, as far as you can tell, of your own past karma. Because very often we're sort of conscious of things just happening to us. We seem to not have any choice. We seem quite powerless. Things are just happening to us. But then again, sometimes we can feel that isn't so. That we are taking the initiative. We are making certain choices. We are moving in a certain direction because we want to, even though we are having to overcome difficulties, overcome obstacles. So we don't feel so helpless then, we don't feel so passive. Even though we may not always be, objectively successful, but at least, we are making an effort, and to the extent that we are making an effort, we are creative, whether successful or not. So in that sort of sense, again, the karma niyama is dominant. The karma niyama is dominant over the other niyamas, representing things that merely happen to us. As a result of the other karma niyamas, other niyamas rather, we may experience illness. We may experience unpleasant extremes of cold and heat. We may experience physical injury and suffering. But we don't allow it, so to speak, to get us down. We maintain, or we retain, our own positive, affirmative, creative, mental attitude, and in that sort of way, the karma niyama, in a positive sense, remains dominant. So I think this is a characteristic of the individual, as distinct from the member of the group.
Would you say then that if we were likely to blame our karma on things, we wouldn't be taking the initiative.
Well, it's difficult to speak in terms of blaming our karma, because we don't really know usually whether something that happens to us is the result of our own karma or not. I was going to say that, following on what I said just before that when we speak of the order, as it were, embodying, the bodhicitta. Well, we are thinking then of we might say, of positive volition in the highest sense, dominating, external conditions, or dominating the other niyamas. But I think what is important is to have a sense of oneself as taking the initiative, not of oneself as being all the time just on the receiving end of things. That can be very frustrating. Well, sometimes people don't even feel frustrated, they just get so used to it. They take it for granted, they don't think very much about it, that's their life. Or in that case, they sink to an infra-individual level, one might say.